and it must rain. Well, let it, but for tonight, forget it. I'm in the mood for love.
So welcome back to a brand new podcast episode of Family Seasons by Coach Teia and my co-host, Mr. Damian Dalcour. Welcome, Mr. Damian.
Hey, Miss Jones and everybody.
Hello,
All
Mr.
right.
Damian.
Hi.
Well, as you all know, and thank you all so much for being on this particular podcast with us. We are presently talking about the 7 days of love, and specifically for the month of February, we want to dedicate it to the highs and lows of love. And so we have two wonderful couples here, which happen to both be Smiths. That is so amazing. I did not plan it that way. We did not plan it that way, but obviously there's a reason for it. So we have the Smiths that are here joining us. We have Jason and Erica, and I'll let them introduce themselves in just a little bit. And then we have Michael and Jackie. So, and not only are they both Smiths, but I just found out something the other day is that I think they both celebrate their anniversaries this month, in the month of February. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think you all both married in an unconventional way. Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay. So, anyway, so welcome so much. We're grateful that you all are here, and we'll kind of ask you all questions as we go along. But first, with Jason and Erica, well, I just met Jason, and it's awesome just to be able to meet Jason. And with Erica, so thank you so much for coming and saying yes, or letting Erica say yes, or however y'all did it. But thank you. I've learned that it works both ways. So thank you. And with Erica, Erica is just such a blessing. Erica was truly a blessing to our mom. Well, we met Erica as she was my mom's therapist. And if I tell you all, she was the absolute only one that could get mom to do exercises.
Ooh-wee, that's a big
And we
one.
all know, for all of us that know, Erica was the only one. And she was so kind and so gentle. And I mean, I would leave out of the room and I would hear her, and Miss Jones, are you going to do this? And we need to do that. And she would be okay. She'd be like, okay. And then when Erica leave, I said, okay, mama, let's continue those exercises. And she's like, mm-mm. I said, well, I need to call Erica back. No. Erica told me that I should. This was her favorite one. Erica told me that I could get some rest after I finished exercise. And I say, really? So our family loves Erica. She has been a great resource. I mean, she's my connecting person. If I need a doctor, a lawyer, Erica knows everybody. And so we are truly blessed to just get to know Erica these past couple of years. And, now we get to see the awesome husband. And so what a blessing.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
What a blessing. So so tell us a little bit about who you all are, and just anything that you want to share just in the intro, please.
Really quick, I do not believe Miss Jones put up a fight when I left. She was so easy. I never saw that, but thank you so much, Tia. Yes, this is. You want to do the introduction, Jason?
Yes, I will do the introduction. Thanks for having us on. I am Jason Smith. I am new to Texas by way of marrying Erica. We have been married now for 1 year and 9 days.
Yeah. 22.
Keeping score over there.
It's been amazing. It truly has. I'm happy to be here. This is by far the hottest and coldest place I've ever lived all at the same time.
Yeah.
I am here by way of Florida. So I was under the impression that every hot weather state felt the same all year round. It does not. But like I said, it's been amazing because, to be honest, like, we could have moved anywhere as long as I was going where she was going. I was good.
Yeah. And like you said, Tia, we did have an unconventional wedding. Like, not only did we have an elopement ceremony, so we wanted pictures from a wedding, but we didn't want a big wedding. So we eloped. We had an elopement ceremony in Allen, 2222. So it was hot when I got my makeup done. It rained on the way. It sleeted when we took the pictures, and it iced on the way home, all in our wedding day. So we got all of the seasons, and all of my in-laws from Florida got stuck here that week because there were no flights out. So yes, this is Texas. Yes, we are a close family.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, that's
So
beautiful.
welcome to Texas, Jason.
Thank you very much.
And then I have Michael and Jackie Smith, which are my brother-in-law, and brother-in-law is what I like to say, and also my sister. And so tell us a little bit about you guys.
Go
All
ahead,
right,
honey.
okay.
You the talker.
Well, okay, well, we're Michael and Jackie Smith, yes, and we have been married now for 27 years.
Wow.
28.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
we've been together for 28 years.
Yes.
And yeah, so we are, well, essentially native Texans by way of Louisiana, I'll say. But born and raised here. I am right on the Louisiana line and have a lot of deep heritage there, as well as does my wife. And you know, we've been on this road, on this path for this journey, and it doesn't seem like it's been that long, honestly. But you know, you have it is a journey. It's not a sprint, and so that's what we like to say.
Yeah.
And but we're still in that love mode.
I still like you.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad for you all to be here, and you all have been here before, so they're definitely not amateurs at this podcasting thing. We've had them on a couple of years, and so we're just grateful that we get a chance to talk to, you know, we have, you know, I guess when you look at a spectrum, you have the newlyweds, and then you have those that are the veterans, I would say, and both are the Smiths, and so I think this is going to be a great conversation. So we're going to get right on into it. Okay, Damian, I'll give it back over to you, and let's get into this conversation.
Well, you know, Miss Jones, I think this would be a unique topic. You know, you got some newlyweds and you got some veterans to the heart. And you know what's kind of cool about this? See, I'm 48 years old. I've never been married. And you know, in the Bible, I got a Bible verse here from 1 Peter 4:8. It says, "Above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins." The good news: love each other honestly and earnestly, even when you hate them. Forgiveness is key, and then your love will shine brighter in the darkest moments in your relationship. Now, I want y'all to just think about that for a moment, because I'm in a predicament now where I've always longed to have a wife, but I had to learn in dating and courtship. See, the Bible speaks of courtship when a lot of us long to do dating. Some people say, what's the difference? Well, dating is a comma. Courtship is period. So when you have those two, and you have individuals, like all my friends are married, but over the years, a lot of them are coming to an end. So really, for me, it's kind of hard for me to still push towards having a wife when so many of those are falling off. And it's good, because I think tough times don't last, but tough people do. And what I've learned in this dating world, which is easy to do, when that first argument comes about, it's over with. So I have to see now, when we have the newlyweds, when we have these veterans, you know, what gets you that distance? Because this man just said, it all happened so quick, so fast. And we all know Janet Jackson's song, "Funny How Time Flies When You're Having Fun." And we know too that misery loves company. Because I too get a lot of them phone calls with the sad story, man, she tripping. Man, what I'm gonna do, man, this and that. But you know what? This is the thing. I find myself intervening with more married couples, giving advice, and I ain't never even been married. Now, one good thing about advice is you don't have to take it. But one thing I have to be careful of is never to advise somebody of something that I wouldn't want my loved one to be one day. Them saying that too.
Yes.
I don't never advise them to get no divorce.
Mhm.
I don't never advise them. What I always advise overall, just pray about it.
Right.
Mhm.
That's how it be. Cause see, it takes two of y'all to make it happen.
Right.
Mhm.
My dollar, your dollar together, we got $2.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Without your
Right.
dollar, now I got to give you half of mine. Now we 50 cents a piece now. So I want to know, in the struggles through the journey with these newlyweds, it's only been a year. But through that 1 year, I want to say, well, did it happen too fast? Was it meant to be? Was it heaven sent? Because I've had one lady tell me, oh, he was sent from God. But he didn't even believe in God. So now he didn't come from heaven. Oh yeah, he
but
heaven sent.
yeah, and not from, and didn't believe in God. That's a good question. So,
Right.
so
Go
we'll,
ahead, Ms. Jones.
okay, yeah. So we'll get Erica and Jason. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. One way he worded the question, he said, was it too soon? So let me back up just a bit. We've been married for a year and 9 days,
Mm-hmm.
but I first met Erica in a gym in Tallahassee, Florida, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So she pursued me one evening.
Two sides to every
Two
story.
sides of the story.
One evening when I was working out with a friend of mine, she was also working out with a couple of her friends. She sent someone over to inquire about me and to introduce me to the idea of meeting her. Now, truth be told, I did not get a good workout because I had been watching her through the mirror.
Yeah.
I didn't want the satisfaction that I was watching, so I can't I want to just stare at her and distract her from my workout. So I just watch her through the mirror. But come to find out, my friend that I was working out with told me, I think she's watching you too. So saying all that to say, like, we met 10 years ago, and from that point on, I think we, like, which every moment that passed, we grew closer and closer to each other. Even that first night that we met, we stood outside the gym, and we probably talked about 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And in my experience, I am 41. In my experience in dating and meeting people, I had never had a conversation to where I couldn't wait to hear the next thing she said. And then after that first conversation, I couldn't wait on the start of the next conversation. And like I said, that was 10 years ago. And now that we are where we are now, don't get me wrong, like you say, some of these conversations get heated. Some of these conversations we have a difference of opinion, but we have gotten to understanding to where we understand that that's how we grow. So we may bump heads on our difference of opinion. We do come together, we pray about it, we hold hands about it, we laugh about it. She admits she was wrong and that I was right, and we move on.
We're gonna give you your time, Erica. You got your time is coming.
You know
I
what?
did not chase this man. I'm old fashioned, so I let him pursue me. It just so happened to be a friend of mine hooked us up, and neither one of us knew it. I had no idea. I had never talked to this man, and even after we got together, I lost contact with him. We may have seen him one more time, so we think he wasn't even a real person. Like it's weird the way it happened. But yes, I was 24. We met in the gym in Tallahassee, and Jason and I knew each other literally for 9 years before we got married. And I think I have to credit it to Jason came from a 2-parent household. And so he saw love in the household growing up, and he knew that marriage was his destination. And I thank God that he was patient with me. I was 24, and the divorce rate in my family was 100%. My mother remarried my stepdad when I was a sophomore in college. So even to have that influence, I did not have it. The only thing that I had was my best friends all came from 2-parent households, and both parents were really involved with us playing sports. So I took a little more time to convince to get married because it was that fear. But Jason was very patient, very understanding, and we couldn't deny we're very, like, the chemistry is unreal. So fast forward a year later, like, we don't go to bed mad. we find compromise because I work with elderly patients and they all say, take your time. Don't jump into having a kid. Don't jump into marriage. Take your time. It'll happen. And I listen when people talk. So I think that's kind of, where we are. And now that, we're married, like I was 100% absolute that this is the person that I'm supposed to marry, and I'm ready to be married. And we have not had a problem since. We have disagreements here and there, but it's nothing major because we've known each other so long. We know each other's habits.
And that's good. I like that. I ask people sometimes, and even I'm confronted, I'm just trying to get to know you. Well, how well do you ever know anybody? Because we're all a work in progress. And through the struggles, like he said, it could be over with the snap of a finger. To add on to what you also said, y'all both came from households that had mothers and fathers. And now that I'm 48 years old, I'm having to learn a lot of things. See, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth because he wants you to do more listening than talking. I used to have to do all the time.
Yep.
No, I ain't trying to hear nothing. You can't tell the man nothing. So I had to start listening to some of these ladies who came from these households. And with that, I have it all somewhat figured out now. So now I'm ready. Where's she at?
He ready. Okay.
So, when you collaborate, a veteran family, a marriage versus a newlywed family, this is inspirational.
Just, speaking of that, because there was a celebrity, and I don't want to, call her name, but she just said something, about marriage. It doesn't have the same quality or the same weight as it had before. I'm like, well, that has to be who you're dating, who you're around, because that is not, that's not what I see. And I guess, because Jack and I, we both came from a 2-parent home. And so we saw marriage. That's all we knew was marriage, right? That's all we understood. And so, it's interesting, but so many of the people that we know are married. We know married couples, right? And it's something that we just kind of gravitate to because it's something that we were used to. And so, but to hear her say that in these days and times, I'm like, that has to be some choices in there. You're making some really bad choices if you don't see that marriage is not worth it, or it's not important anymore. And so, and I think Jackie, you and I had that conversation about her, about what she said about that.
Exactly.
So we'll give you, Michael and Jackie, we'll give you all the time, let's tell us how you all met.
Well, actually, I was Michael's post lady. Just so happened I worked for the post office, and they put me on a route for a couple of days. I didn't know how long it was going to be. And that's how I met my husband, down at the post office. And for me, I was like, not interested. He gave me his phone number the first day, and we talked and talked and talked. But I wasn't interested. I was like, no, don't have time. It's just too good to be true, So the second day, which was the last day that I was actually on that route, we end up talking even more and finding out we had a whole lot in common. And it was just from our family backgrounds and, things that we believed in and, didn't believe in. And he made his way back down there again. I don't know how he was always at the box, y'all, checking his mail. And he didn't even have no mail. But he was always down there checking his mail. And for some way, he could always remember how I looked, which I find is so funny. He always remembered how I looked, what I was,
wasn't hard.
Yeah. He always remembered what color my hair was. He remembered so much detail about me. And it was just really kind of odd. He was very different from any guy that I ever dated. And so by that time we started talking. We met in the month of January. And by July, my birthday is in July, we were engaged to be married. So we dated short, but we married long.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
And then month of July, when he asked me to marry him, I said, well, I want to wait a little while. And, because I was like, this is just too good to be true, because I always dreamed of marrying someone a little bit older than me. And
now, why was that important to say?
Yeah, I don't know why that was important to say.
You know, I gotta mess with him,
We're talking
right?
You got to put it in there.
16
Okay.
years.
Six
So,
years
I
older,
mean,
so
you
yeah,
know,
he's 6 years older than I
I
am.
don't know how that got into the conversation, but that's okay.
But we end up,
Y'all would
you
take us
know,
back.
I always dreamed myself of being married because I saw it in our household. And I saw my mom and my dad relationship, and I wanted that same thing. I didn't want to have to just keep on going and dating and married and divorced, married and divorced. And I wanted it to be a long-term thing. And so the next following 6 months, I was like, you know what? Okay, this is it. God, he really, I had to really pray on it, and he had to let me know, hey, this is it. And after that, I stopped dreaming of being married when we got married, because I always dreamed of being married, and I have not had that dream in 28 years. Have not had that dream in 28 years. And it's been a road, and we've had our good, we've had our bad, we had our ups, we had our downs. One thing we don't believe in going to bed mad either. No, we gotta come together on that. We do pray together. Good, whether it's good time or bad times, we pray together. So that I truly believe that God plays a big role in our marriage. And I believe when you put him first, everything else comes together. And I don't know, it's been a great ride. It's been a great ride. I still like him, like I said. Not only do I just love him, but I still like him. And I think it's very important that you still like your spouse, because if you can't like them, you sure can't love them. So I believe that you should always have that door open for communication, talk, whether it's going to be confrontational, whether it's not going to be confrontational. But you always talk. It took me a long time to get him to open up sometimes, because men are a little kind of, they kind of got a little tough shell sometimes. But when he did start opening up, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I did not know all of this. So when he did, I was like, woo-wee. I was like, did I really want him to open up? But so he did. It took a while. We still learning each other, even after 28 years of being together, we still learning each other. We kind of know each other pretty well. We're a real laid back couple. We love to laugh. We love to joke. We love to have fun. Because without fun, child, you ain't gonna make it in marriage, okay? Because you got to laugh sometime. And I'm telling you right now, you gotta laugh. You can't, you got your moments though when you're serious about paying bills and doing all this other stuff, but you have really got to learn to laugh with each other, laugh with each other. So we do that a lot. We do that a lot. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I try to keep her in stitches.
Yeah.
But seriously, it is absolutely, God is the primary. We firmly believe that he's brought us together and where he's taken us. And we don't always know those directions. I was listening to Bishop Jakes, because I didn't get a chance on Wednesday, but his message was Be Potent Faith. And I think Damian referenced something earlier when talking to maybe some of your associates, that brought up a point. And it's really something I think that's good for all of us to keep in mind. I grew up also in a two-parent home. I saw love all of my growing up. However, I have been married before. And I was really, when I met my wife, I was really seeking to do God's will. I mean, I was really seeking to do the right thing. And yeah, when I met her, I was going up to my apartment and I saw her.
Now we're getting his version of it, right? Now we're getting your version of
it. You know what? I went upstairs and I was pacing the floor. There's just something magnetic about that, and because that wasn't the case with just every situation or every my head was not on a swivel. Let's just put it like that. I mean, I really wanted to do the right thing. I was really really focusing and seeking God's will, and not to say that we are perfect people or that we do everything the right way, but that mindset and that spirit, I think, is really important. And I circle back to what I was just saying a moment ago. So I went upstairs. First, let me tell this story. I went upstairs and I was just pacing the floor and asking God. And, you know, I really have not talked to this woman yet. I don't know if I even said hi. And she was still, I went back down there, leaned on the fence. You remember that?
Yeah.
I think you said something about my socks because I hadn't done my laundry, you know, so.
He had on some black slacks with some white socks. He kind of looked like Michael
You didn't
Jackson
have
standing
that.
on the feet up
I
there.
probably should open that door. I probably
Yeah,
should.
yeah, you should
But,
leave it
yeah, I
alone.
should've
You
probably-
know
but
I'm
anyway,
telling you,
I
you know
did
I'm
lean
telling
on.
you.
I almost said it, but I didn't want, you know, because I know the story. But I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to throw that out there. But go on.
But you know, I know I'm kind of going in a couple of different directions, but that was, and yeah, and that first conversation is starting to really get to know. And then after we talked and we started to find out more and more about one another, yeah, that just kind of
It blossomed.
sealed the
from there.
deal. It kind of blossomed.
We
and yeah,
talked a lot
knew it.
on the phone.
We did.
Late at night. Oh,
We did.
yeah, we talked a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that at the time I was 35.
Yeah, and I was in
Talking
my
on
late.
the phone.
I was on my late 20s. I
Is that
know.
right?
I know.
Wait a
We
minute,
were like
hold on,
high
hold on,
school.
hold
We
on,
were like
hold on,
high
hold on,
school
hold on,
people.
hold on, wait a minute,
What?
wait a minute. I'm 63. Let me
Well,
get
you
my,
just
let me
told
get
your
my
age.
math
I'm
right.
not telling my age.
-6, I already told you. But anyway. Damian mentioned something, Brother Dalcour mentioned something a few minutes ago. And Bishop spoke on this last night. In Romans, or he spoke on it, I guess Wednesday, but I was listening to it. But in Romans, Paul, first of all, Paul was, you know, very intellectual. Paul was and of the hierarchy, you know, before he got converted. But he used judicial reasoning to bring people to understand that. And you mentioned something about, well, how can God have sent this person? He doesn't believe in God. Abraham believed God, but he first didn't know God because he was Chaldean. And, you know, he was used to a culture that did all sorts of things prior to his coming to believe in God. So I guess when you look at things like that, we have to be, I think, a little cautious in our assessment sometimes of others, because when God sets a plan and does things, I guess I just, hey, let go and let God, let him do his thing.
Yes,
when it comes to, you know, again, you know, talking about and with other people, I say that because I have, you know, we witness and talk on the job frequently, and someone had intimated to me their relationship with their fiance, and initially only because of the fact that they're of a different faith. And my first thought on that was, you know, as a Christian, I'm thinking, but then what he talked about just last night gave me a different perspective on that. And a more open perspective on it. We have to be careful, I think, really, because when God is working inside of individuals, yeah.
we just never know, right?
We just never know.
We don't know what God will do. But I think what I've heard both of you all say, both couples say, is that trusting, you all trusted the process, and you knew there was something there, that you knew that one another was meant to be, you know, your spouses. And that's a big thing, because, you know, how did you know? What was that thing? If you could say, you know, in one sentence, what was that thing about that person? And I'll let each one of you all answer this question. What is that one thing? And I know it might be many, but, you know, that made you say, okay, this is her, or this is him, this is the right thing. We'll let Erica answer this one first. So what's that one thing about Jason? Just name one thing, I would say, that makes
the one thing I think that set Jason apart from anybody who I had ever experienced was you can't teach character.
Yeah.
And that was it. I think that just that character is all encompassing, and he had it. He had it. and still has it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is.
Look at him cheesing. But it's true. And that's true. So let me ask you this, Erica, just to elaborate a little bit more. So character is something that is not always spoken. It's something that we see, is witnessed.
Mhm.
So is that what you saw in him? Was that character? Is that
Yes.
okay?
I mean, just that family man. I've never, questioned his loyalty to me. Just a gentleman overall, just very charismatic and very nurturing. Like Jason is, he looks like he has a hard exterior because he doesn't let a lot of people in. But if he does let you in, like it's just, the character that he was raised by his grandma. So that nurturing, sensitive person is there.
And that's obvious. I'll tell you what made me know that was when I asked you about doing a podcast, and you say, we'll do it. And you were the spokesperson. Now, I don't think Jason was on the other end when you said we'll do it. I doubt if he was there, but for you to be able to, to have that much trust to say, I know my husband and I know that he will be okay in this position, that says a lot. So that was like, okay, he is an amazing guy, right? I knew that. And then when he comes on camera, I'm thinking, I know him. I mean, you all look like, I've never seen you before, but you look familiar. And so that has a lot to do with, that spirit. That's God. That's a God thing. So I wasn't going to say it, but I'll go ahead and say it because Jason, you have no idea. Every time Erica would leave, my mom would say, I need to see if she's married or not, because I have some, and we would say, Mom, you don't leave Erica alone. Erica, you have no clue. And she may have asked, you don't even know. She always tried to find somebody in the family. I'm like, Mama, that was the girl. Leave Miss Erica alone, Brandon. You don't even know. She just knew that you were such a great person that you needed to be, and so I don't think you knew that, but she was like, I just need to find somebody. I'm like, we really have nobody. Leave it alone. So, okay. So, Jason, I'll let you answer that about Erica.
Yeah, character, that was pretty good. But if I had to put it in one word, and I'm hoping I'm using the right word, it's aura. It's something about, like I said, that very first conversation is one thing. We were in the gym. So the gym is a physicality thing. I see this woman that I am physically attracted to. It was the conversation. I had never spoken with someone to where I held on to their conversation. Not only did I hold on to her conversation, like I wanted to add to the conversation. So it wasn't just me being closed up and wanting to listen. It was one thing to listen, but I was retaining what she was giving me. And then also I wanted to share with her. She brought up my grandmother, who was very, very that was my one, my grandmother as well as my mother. But the first time I took Erica to my home town of Jacksonville, Florida, the first person she met was my grandmother. And I can't lie, it was the cosign that came from Granny.
Yeah.
Like when Granny saw, Granny said, that's it. That's it. So not only I had already felt it, and to get the cosign even with my mother, she was like, wow, I got to have this woman. Like I got to have this woman. But again, like it was something that was unique about I just knew it was something different about her. I wanted to hear what she had to say. I wanted to go where she was going. I wanted to be where she was going to be. And what was I, 30? I was about to be 31.
We have a 7-year difference. I have to put that out there. Like that's like we have a 7-year difference.
So much
it's amazing because I think had we known each other's ages before we met, I don't think we would have met. Like right?
That was another part to that story. The person that she sent over to me to introduce her to me told me that she was around about 28 years old.
I was 24.
So at the time in my mind, I'm finished with college. I'm 30 years old. I'm embarking in my career. I don't have time to 9:30. I'm in the bed because I got to get up and be in the office at 7:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
So if it's a younger lady, younger woman, I'm not out in the nightclub. I'm not with the nightlife. I'm not chasing nobody around the clock. So to find out she was 23, 24 years old, not the woman I talked to, not this woman I just had this conversation with. She doesn't come off like what I imagine at 24, 23, 24 years. She definitely wasn't what I was at 23, 24 years old.
Right.
So at the time that I met her, and then to find out that she wasn't like this checklist that I put in my head, she has to be this age, she has to be this person, she has to be that person. Now it was like meeting her, I found out she is the person.
Oh.
It wasn't this criteria that I had painted in my head. It was like, I haven't met anyone like this.
Yeah.
And if you don't do this right, I don't know if I'll meet anyone else like this. Like this is it.
That's awesome.
And like I said, that was 10 years ago. And every day I wake up, I still know it.
Oh.
I still feel it.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love that. That's
Miss
awesome.
Jones, when I think about it, it's nothing wrong with being hit with that whip appeal, you know?
That's right.
That's what it was, right? He said over is whip appeal, right?
I know that Babyface song word for word. My mother and father love that song.
Yeah.
But you know, too, Miss Jones is unique because he said that checklist.
Right.
And you know, when a man starts thinking about a younger lady, you know, there are some perspectives that he has, like, oh no, club and this and that, because in the club there's a certain man that has all the attention from him. But me, I won't be at ladies' night because I got to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Right.
And that responsible man is what that age bracket really ain't looking for.
Right.
And after she gets a few babies and this and that, now she's looking for him. You know, too, you do that discernment, having that grandmother and having them two parents, see, that'll weigh it all out.
Right.
You know, you do. It's hard these days. Because you know, we all do run into those struggles, and who can we run to?
Yeah.
You know, ain't no crisis hotline where you can call, yeah, I'm having this trouble with my wife, what I need to go and do. They don't have none of that these days.
Yeah.
So this is an intuitive part of my path as well.
Yeah, this is good.
I like that.
I like that. And I will say this, to see men so open, that's something that's a big thing for me, big thing for so many of us, to see men so open to be able to share. That's huge because you don't always get that. I mean, sometimes, you know, men are not safe in spaces to share, but here we are, you know, we have 3 men that's on here that's just willing to share and talk. And so, you know, I applaud you all, you know, for that, because that's something that we don't always get that. But I know I was a daddy's girl. We were daddy girls. So we know we had a daddy that talked and we loved him and hung out with him all the time. So we know that men have a lot to say. They just don't always have the opportunity to say it. And so we're grateful that you all are here and to share that. And so I love that, Jason. I absolutely love that. So we're just going to sum it up as whip appeal. So exactly. I love that. So, okay, so we'll get, you know, Jackie. So, you know, Jackie, you answered the question. What was that one thing about Michael that you knew?
Of course, his character. And that's a big thing, because for me, he was very caring, very nurturing, just very lovable. And I loved it because he listened to me. And at a time that what I was coming from out of a bad relationship, I never had anyone to listen to me quite like he did. And his compassion for it was just, it was so much. That's why I always say it was, to me, it was like, I couldn't believe this was a man that was like this. He was just different from any other guy I ever dated. So those things about him, I never deal with those. When I was even married before, which, you know, didn't last long, it was the same thing. There was nothing like this guy here. And that's what I love about Michael. He's and not only that, he's a God-fearing man. And anytime you catch a man that loves God, and I noticed how he loved his mother. They always say, watch a man how he loves his mother. And yeah, I saw that. I saw that trickle down because I came from that same household like he did, where we had such loving parents. So we saw a lot of those characters in our parents, and so we saw it in each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you, sweetie.
Michael?
You're welcome,
Yeah, that was
baby.
good. And I can
It's
attest to
fun.
that, Michael. I mean, I know him. I've been knowing him all these years, and that is so true. He's definitely been a godsend to our family, not just to my sister, but to our
Yeah.
family, because we didn't have to worry anymore. When they got married, it was over. Like she said, she had been in abusive relationships and such, and so we no longer had to worry. And my dad immediately said, nope, you're not coming back. Hang in there and treat that man right, because this is the one.
He knew.
So, go on, Michael.
He was a very wise man too. I enjoyed
Yeah.
with both your mom and dad. But yeah, your family has been, Jones family has been a blessing to me as well. So I got to get that out there because it's reciprocated. It's reciprocal. Trust me. Now, the first thing that attracted me to my wife, of course, you know, as men, you know, we see the physical. Eric kind of mentioned this earlier. We see that physical person, right? So if I'm passing by the mailbox, I'm doing a double take at the mail carrier. But then when I came back down to speak with her, you know, and as she related in my awkward way, leaning on the fence, but then she takes her glasses off. She's cleaning her glasses together.
Well, she did.
I'm back downstairs. Did I not literally see him just go upstairs? But after, you know, beyond the physical, and, you know, that was, of course, and is beautiful. But just being able to, once we started really having conversations and started talking, I found out the kind of person and the kind of, the person that she is very caring, full of joy, loves to laugh. I know she gets that a lot from dad and mom, but she gets that a lot from dad. But she kept me, kept me going. She still does. Just keeps me going. There's so many instances of, and it's important. She mentioned it a moment ago. This is not the sustaining factor, but it is some of the sinew that kind of keeps things together. It's what I mean by that, having those moments. That's not I won't say that's the structure, but you have to have those moments. You have to have those moments. But she's so much more than the laughter. Complex, still learning her after all these years. I guess we're learning one another, and we will continue because we're growing
That's right.
and changing on the daily. You know, God's continuing to work in us and through us.
Yeah, I like that. You know, y'all ain't gonna believe it, but that sounds like a little bit of that whip appeal too.
I don't know why they don't just sum it up. It's whip appeal.
You know, like I said, Miss Jones, you know, how well do you ever know anybody? Because we're all just a work in progress.
Right.
And you know, through life struggles, you do. You know, with the veterans, you know, part from each other and say, hey, I'm gonna go start this over from day one with somebody else. I don't know, probably not. But
nobody going nowhere.
And that's great.
That whip appeal, right?
Right.
So,
you know, hey, Teia, I can see him looking at somebody else's box.
Yeah, trying to just down there.
Hanging out, waiting on the mail carrier to come.
Trying to see that blue suit.
And I remember her saying, girl, he came back down here again today. He has more mail. This man has so much.
Keep in mind, I got a full-time job. So
that's what I'm saying. So like, was a lunch break? I mean, how were you working that thing out? I mean,
it's time in that thing.
It was always after work for him.
He take out work to go check the mail.
Yeah. Awesome. So you know what? And this is a great conversation. And you know, we got a couple more questions, and I'll ask you all this because you know, I know. I mean, we're calling you all newlyweds. I mean, you're newlyweds, but I mean, you've been in the game for a while. So, with Jason and Erica. You all have been, I mean, 10, 11 years. That's a long time, and, once again, in these days and times. And so for you to say, Jason, what was the thing that made you decide? And I know we've talked about this, you kind of, you talked about this, but what was the thing that, or what was it that made you say, we won't keep dating? Now is the time. Was there one, and maybe this is for both of you guys, for both Jason, you and Eric, and Jack, I'll let you and Michael answer that too. So, what was it? Was it something that you said, you know what?
I don't, let me make sure I put this. I knew that, okay, we can date for as long as she would allow me to date her.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did know is that my days are different without her. So if my days are different without her, my days were different before her. And the days with her are the days that I prefer. So if that's the days I want every day, if God has brought this woman in my life, I want her in my life every day, from the start of the day to the end of the day. So if that means me getting down on one knee, hopefully while she's not looking, just because I got a little trouble getting down, if that's what that means, that's a piece of cake. Because I know, if nothing else, I want her every day. I need to see her every day. I need to hear her every day. So taking that next step, like it was just, I knew that's what it was supposed to be.
I think in our situation, transparency, I think it was easier for you. Mm-hmm. Usually the man is the problem, he's taking too long. It was me in our situation, because like I said, I did not come from a 2-parent household. None of my friends are married. So we are the ones that they look at for right. the example. So I wanted to know that I knew that this was the person for me. And it's so funny, I knew you were the one, but it seems like one day God was just like, Erica, now is the time. And I called you. You remember that? And I'm like, I'm ready. Like, I'm finally ready. Because before I would tell you, like, I'm not ready yet. Right. And I couldn't say why. It was a fear of getting married, because I've seen it done wrong too many times, and I didn't want that. Because, like they said, we're riding this thing till the wheels fall off. Yeah. So I called you and I was like, you know what? I'm ready. And then 6 months later, if that, you proposed, like you had bought the ring, and like it was bam, 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 like right after that. So, I think in our situation, I was the holdup. We would have been married at like year 3.
In context, she called because she had moved back to Texas. I was there at this point. I was living in Tampa, Florida. Mm-hmm. And when she called and we were able to have that conversation, and we knew we were ready to take this step. Don't get me wrong, in my mind, I'm ready to go off for a little bit. Why it took this long? I told you this is what it needs to be. Mm-hmm. But it's just the level of understanding. God's timing is perfect. It was that time. It was that moment. It was that day. That is when it was supposed to happen. Like she had said, truth be told, if it was up to me, it'd have happened 9 years ago. Yeah. This would have been happening. But it was God's timing. So in that time, she had to grow, I had to grow, and then he saw fit for us to grow more together. So I have no complaints about it. I have no regrets about it. I am just like the past is what it is. The future I look forward to, but the now is amazing.
Wow. And it's so many experiences that we went through in that 9 years, death in the family, me moving home to take care of family members. Like, it was so much that we experienced that could have shaken us. Mm-hmm. And that's what let me know, like, this isn't normal. Like, this would break people. Right. And that's kind of what let me know, like, that, like, we have something. This man has the character. My family was like, finally, like, my mom was like, I would have married Jason years ago. Like, my family was like, so like, we knew.
That's awesome.
So you're saying if you would have married her 9 years ago, do you suggest it wouldn't have made it this far?
I can't say if it would or
We would have
wouldn't.
struggled.
Yeah, but I choose to live with the thought that, again, like the timing was perfect.
God's
Like
time.
it was a reason for it to time out in the way that it did. I had a lot of work to do on me. And don't get me wrong, we're a work in progress like every day. But like, yeah, I could only imagine 9 years ago, you know, you're new to each other, the infatuation is there, but the level of understanding hasn't developed yet, it hasn't grown yet. So the growth in your relationship may come to an abrupt end because, again, that lack of understanding. That was something I think was a big thing with me personally to develop and under the level of understanding, and that helped me to grow within myself and also to grow closer to Eric.
Right. Would you agree that there's been many opportunities for your relationship to fail?
Yes. Yes. Again, sometimes it's and my mother used to always say, you know, put the shoe on the other foot, those cliche things, you know. My father would tell me just step back, take a minute and think a minute, pray a minute. And the more I started to adhere to those things, you know, just take your deep breaths, calm down, you know, drink a bottle of water, whatever you got to do, take yourself out of the moment for a minute. Take yourself out of the moment, think about the bigger picture and sit down, talk about it, iron it out, fuss about it, whatever you got to do, and then move forward. It took me some time to grab to that.
With us, I think we needed that foundation. Like we had to be friends first.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think you can put a timeline on friendship. And I think that's the beautiful part of our marriage is that this is my best friend. Right. So no matter what happens, you know, we may disagree here and there. Like it's easier for us to not go to bed mad at each other because this is my homeboy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what like the biggest thing for us is like we are friends.
That's good. That's awesome. I love that. Love that. Jackie and Michael, what about you guys? I know once again it's on the other end of the spectrum, right? I mean, you all, it was like
Yeah, what Erica just mentioned is see, Jackie's my best friend. We were joking about this earlier about having people, and you know, we have friends and things like that. But, you know, we talked about. She asked me jokingly, "You want to have a lot of people over here for the Super Bowl?" She already knew the answer to this.
Yeah.
But this is my best friend right here. This is in to that point. What really made me understand is that this was a woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. In addition to the person that she is, she's a nurturing person, a loving person. She's got a backbone. She has, you know, she'll tell you how she feels. Did I mention she can cook like, uh-oh.
Just not cheap, I can cook.
But she
And
yeah,
clean.
What's up right there?
Did I mention that? I don't know
like that part.
this one right here.
I like it.
But honestly, I know what bad looks like in marriage. Because like I said, I was married before. So I know what that looks like.
Yeah.
And when I found my wife, I found good. I knew that I had found good. Because again, I've been down that other path. When I found my wife and her attributes, her qualities, and her belief system, I knew I had found the right one.
Yeah.
I found the right one.
Because when I first met him, he automatically told me what he wanted. He was not playing any games. He didn't want anybody to just sleep around with. You know, it was like, you know, he wanted a relationship. He didn't want just some hokey pokey through the night, you know. So, and you know, he was like, you know, I'm at this age where, you know, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm praying for. And I'm like, and I was shocked. I was like, you never hear a man just comes out and say what he wants at the beginning of a relationship like that. So it just kind of took me back, because then I was like, Well, that's what I want. I want to be married. I want to be, I want to be loved. I want to be, I want to be, with a guy like that. And so for me, even though we met in January and like I said, he proposed to me in July, my reasons for wanting to wait those 6 more months, I'm kind of like Erica. I kept going, well, I want to keep on being friends. But it was the same. It was like there was no limit on it. And that's kind of when God spoke to me and said, you know what? You wanted this. This is what I've given you. You accept it. And that's what I had to do. And that's what made up my mind, is to marry the next following year. So I was like, okay, God, this is it. You done spoke to me, you done told me, you done send grandmamas to me in dreams, and you send all these dreams to me and let me know. And I'm still sitting here, trying to debate it, because like I said, once again, I just thought it was just too good to be true. And because I had come such from a broken relationship, I didn't know, how to accept something good for once.
Mhm.
And I remember my dad telling me that. And I get teary-eyed when I think about what my dad told me, but whew, he kind of let me know that, hey, this is it, honey. This is it. And he saw that in him. And so that kind of clarified and signed and dotted the lines for me. So
yeah, and I just kind of piggyback on that. Our dad was very adamant about what he wanted us to find in men. You know what I mean? He was very clear on that. And when we didn't go that route initially, we knew that was not in alignment with what he had always taught us, because he was very strategic in teaching us, this is what you allow, this is what you look for. Sure, he can be, sometimes we get so caught up in physical, he can be all this and all of that. But but when hard times hit, he's walking out on you. He's leaving you. Find someone with that character. Find someone that's going to treat you, as if you're just a world. Find someone that's going to provide and want to be with you. And those were things that were very, very, that was important. Daddy taught us that. And I can say this, when I was in relationships where I wasn't having that, I knew, because I kept hearing that in the back, and Daddy was gone then, but I kept hearing that in the back of my mind, that this is not in alignment with what we were taught. A man should honor you, and he should respect you, and wanting to provide, wanting to take care of you, and wanting to be your wife, wanting that. And so I can definitely say that when Michael came, I mean, not Dad was just, he said, listen, this is it. This is it. He and Daddy had a great relationship. I mean, they truly had a wonderful relationship. And so, I'm appreciative of that. I keep saying, I'm so glad to hear you men talking and sharing this, and to know that that you're committed, that you're committed to, being the leaders and the head of the houses. And it's so funny, both of you all, because when I asked Jackie, I say, well, Michael, I said, well, you all, same thing I did, Eric. I said, well, will you all be on the podcast? She said, we will. And I'm like, you all are the spokesperson. So I know that says a lot. I mean, we're grateful, and I have one last question for you all. What is the goal of your marriage? What's the goal? I mean, what do you want to accomplish in your marriage? And that can be anything. I mean, to feed the poor, to move to Africa. I mean, what is the goal of your marriage? What is that? Anybody can answer that one.
It's actually a really good question.
Yeah.
The best way I can put it is I want to almost mirror what I saw with my parents.
Yeah.
Like the level of understanding, the happiness, the providing, the shelter, everything that they provided for us. It was something like, it was like we grew up on the Cosby Show, and that Claire and Cliff love that they had, the characters on that show, was what I saw growing up. And like she was saying, to meet women as you're coming up, I thought everybody saw what I saw. I thought everybody had the same picture at home that I had. So then come to find out, it's not as common as I would have grew up thinking. Mm-hmm. So now it gave me a better understanding of how special it is. And I want that. I want to feel that, but not only do I want to feel it, I want to make sure Erica feels it and she knows it. Like, this is special to me, and I want it to always be special for us.
I agree. I think you're kind of saying what I want to say. I want for our marriage to be that example that not just our family, like people can look at and say, like, God is in that marriage. This is what marriage is supposed to look like. You know, for the, like I said, none of my girlfriends are married. And I have nieces and nephews that come from single parent households. I want them to be able to look and say, hey, I want what TT and Uncle Jace have. Like, this is the goal, because they're happy, they're committed. We don't see them fight. You know, it's a team effort. They're not struggling because they have each other's back. Like, that is what I want.
I think she's muted.
You're creating a new standard. You're setting something that's different.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. I mean, I get teary-eyed because if we would think more in that mindset to set the new standard. Okay, so it was not, so you didn't see it growing up. So it did not happen growing up. Let me be the first. Let me be the example. Let me be the one to start it, and so that they can see that. That's, I applaud you for even having that mindset.
And then we're non-traditional too. You know, it's funny. My grandma would call and be like, "Baby, did you cook his breakfast and his lunch and his dinner?" Like,
I wasn't gonna let that.
You weren't gonna tell that?
Yeah.
Oh, Jason,
it's the opposite.
I cannot. But when I tell you, this house will be clean from top to bottom.
I didn't want to take that far from you. I didn't want to take that image from. I cook. I do the cooking. I do the baking.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. But the tables, the place setting, that's me.
And I'm supposed to be out there doing the yard. She out there trying to do it with me.
I'm cutting the grass.
She don't want to do what I thought she was supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I love that.
If we hear something at night, I'm running out here to see what's going on. She already grabbing the gun.
I'm right
now.
But that's that single one. I came from a single mom, so having to step back sometimes. That was one of the things in the beginning, like, letting the man be the man was something that I had to learn over time, because my dad died when I was 10. I did not see that. Mm-hmm. So, but we are non-traditional in some of our road. Jason could, I can't. I can fry chicken and make breakfast.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Something fall off a shelf in the middle of the night. Would you sit down and let me go see what you
That's good.
Because God forbid I gotta call my daddy and tell him, if something happened last night, Erica had to choke the man. What you doing? I want to have that conversation, so let me get up and handle this.
Yeah. That's awesome. And that's nothing for you to say that, Erica, as coming from that single family. I mean, you saw your mom do it. Your mom had to handle it. She was the one taking care of it. But you had to learn to kind of,
she can change the oil in the car. Like, it is not much. She taught us. She taught the girls to do non-traditional roles.
Yeah,
that's it. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, my kids will joke all the time. That's how I met Damian, because I was doing the plumbing. I'm gonna make it happen. That's me. And then I was out there fixing my gate the other night, and I said, "Now, who can I call? What man can I call?" I said, "Well, it's too late to call." I knew Michael. I said, "Well, I know I'm not calling Michael." I said, "Well, maybe I call Damian, because they already know, like, Mom, would you bring that hammer back in here?" And I was gonna fix that gate. They already know I was gonna make it happen. But then, I mean, I'm glad you said that. But then how to let him be the man, because he's a man, and he wants to do that. He wants to provide and go check and see who's out there. He wants to be that man to do that. So
I had to know that it's okay to be soft.
That's good.
That's the biggest thing. It is okay to be soft.
That's good. I love that. Love that. But Jackie, what about you and Michael? What's your goal? What's the goal of your marriage?
Well, first of all, I want to be an example to younger couples, and not just younger couples, but even some of my own family members. We get a lot of compliments from our own family members, where people will tell us, "Oh my God, we just love you and Mike and Jackie, Mike." They always have good, kind words and good opinions of us. And I share a lot with them, and, and talking with them, even if they're dating or whatever relationship they may be in. But for our goal, I see a lot of my mom and my dad and us.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of our parents in some of the things that I do and we say, and so we see a lot of that already in each other with, as far as goals with, and I get teased about it because I'm the kind of wife where I cook a lot, but I make sure my husband come home to a meal. I make sure, I'm always keeping the house on tip top condition. So, cause I got OCD, so I'm always cleaning up, but for the most part, I'm a very organized, detailed type of person. So, and now I've got him like that. He's like that.
I cannot go to bed with dirty dishes. That will not happen.
We can't go to bed with dirty dishes. And,
really
we got that from our parents.
I've even got worse since we've been married because I can't see that.
Yeah.
But I will say, Jason, to your point, I need to step up my game, honestly, on the cooking, because that's how I got over to my house in the first place. That's how started to reel it in. I had actually cooked some catfish one time, and I think
he always fits catfish, spaghetti, and barbecue. Those are three things that he could cook. I could every time we had a date out at his house.
I know I need to get back into cooking mode, really, because now when we were working alternate kind of shifts, and I would have a couple of days off during the week, and then you would be over at the then I'd be trying to cook some dinners in the evenings and things like that. But it wasn't
the first
quite
one
the
who made
same.
it home was
It was.
First one made it home was the one who had to cook.
I need to
and
get back.
it always worked out. It always worked out. But we ate. We ate.
That's good.
But yeah, we see a lot of that. We see a lot of our parents in us. We see a lot of the traditional things that they did. And but like I said, those are our goals, is to be an example to others also.
And I think I'd like to be more available to do God's will, really open and available to do, because He's called us to do more, and I want us to be available, in that regard to do more.
Yeah.
One thing, my mother and father were very loving, very nurturing, very caring people. Mother was more prone to laughter. My parents were kids during the Depression, so it was a little bit different. So what my dad projected a lot of the time, and this is a man thing, but what he projected so much of the time was that strong exterior. You don't need to worry. You don't need to worry. His emotions, you would know he would love you by what he did. He wouldn't be the one to tell you, I love you all the time. He wouldn't be the one to necessarily reach out and hug you all the time. He would, don't get me, and when that happened, it was like, you would remember it. But, and I'm not saying he was entirely a disciplinarian, but he was of that mindset of protect and project that image of, you weren't going to see if he was worried and they would have that conversation in the back, you wouldn't know much about what they were worried about.
Yeah.
Or what he was worried about, if he was worried. And yeah, he had a lot, but he would carry a lot of that inside. And so, when I met my wife, I'm sure she saw a lot of that. And sometimes I can still get into that mode. And, I'm a little bit of both of them. I got that laugh, but at the same time, I can get into that, into that mode. And so I just want to be on that end. I want to be a little bit better, a little bit more open, a little bit more vulnerable. And the understanding that we have, I think, and it's something, once again, I refer back to a lot of Bishop Jake's messages because we listen to him a lot, it is not her job to change me. It's not my job to change her. That's God's work. Let him do his work, but at the same time, we grow together. We grow together, and we understand. We begin to understand and mold and make. He does the work, but he uses each other to do a lot of the work
Exactly.
that needs to be done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Love that. I mean, this has been a great conversation for sure. And Damian, I do you have any final questions?
Well, to our veteran couple, definitely know where I'm gonna be going when I get hungry. And two, I can add very, very inspirational, a relationship that developed from a little bit of nothing into something,
Mhm.
and it's amazing how far God has taken it.
Yeah.
He's not finished yet. Y'all on this TV with us now, so ain't no telling what's next.
I know. This is big things happening, right? Big things happening for sure.
And Tia, back to our newlyweds, know if I'm gonna be showing up over there, they kind of gangster over there.
Especially not at night. So we don't have to, okay, Erica, we're on our way. Okay, so maybe I got you. I mean, I got you. I understand.
Too, they do too have a very solid platform, from how it all began to now.
Yes.
And I think others, they should, talk with others and mentor others.
Yeah.
What it takes, because it's all a learning process.
It is.
Right.
There's no books on the do's and don'ts in marriage. The only way to stay married is to just keep married.
You all have been true testaments of what God can do. And so I know that this podcast is not just a blessing to me and to Damian, but it's a blessing to the world, because we see truly what God can do when two people come together. And here you are, you all have that purpose, and you're walking together in your purpose, and you're I've seen something so unique, but this is exactly what God promised when he ordered marriage, because that's how I believe God only orders marriage. I'm one that I think God orders marriage. I'm not going to be your, whatever, when he orders marriage, when he talks about marriage, when he talks about you two coming together as one, I have seen that in both couples. I see how you all just, how you communicate with one another, how you all, both the verbal and nonverbal. I've seen that just sitting here tonight. This is truly a blessing. And that's not to say that this is perfect. Neither one of you all said you all had perfect situations, because we're human. But to know that if God did it for you all, he can do it for, all of the singles that are out here praying and believing God to send them who they're supposed to have, who they're supposed to be with. Because I say myself, I only want what God has for me. I can have, I have a lot of friends, and I can meet people, and I love talking to people. I love talking to men and, having a great time, but I only want what God has for me. And so to see that, he's blessed you, Erica, with Jason, and Jason, you with Erica, and Michael and Jackie, to see that lets me know that God is still in the blessing business, as the old folks would say, right? Do y'all have any final comments? Any final thing you all want to say? Anything you want to add?
I do need to clarify one thing.
Uh-huh.
When I said my parents were children of the Depression, I'm the youngest of that bunch. Just want to get that out there.
Wow.
And then,
you mean the Great Depression that we talked about? I mean, like
that one we talked about.
That we learned about in okay.
That one that y'all learned about, that we all learned about.
Okay. And that's just kind of inside jokes between me and my brother-in-law. I mean, I couldn't wait for him. Was it 50, Michael, when I couldn't wait to?
When I
wanted to get the cake and
with all that stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to do all of that, but I didn't get you had to get, what was that? The fire marshals had to come and approve all the the balloons and all the lights and candles and stuff. But no,
you got the fire extinguishers, you remember?
We had all that stuff.
It was pretty serious. So, but nevertheless, this has been great. Any final remarks, Jason and Erica?
I just wanted to say, I truly enjoyed this. Yes, I was excited to do it. I do recognize that it is Super Bowl weekend.
So that was commitment.
We just passed the NBA trade deadline, so I'm like, man, Saturday. It's been amazing. It's exciting to tell our story, but also to listen to your story as well. And then to get the tutelage from you as well as your co-host. So I really truly enjoyed this.
Yeah, Teia, Damian, this is awesome. Like what y'all are doing, like you said, it is good for the community.
Yeah.
You know, you probably don't even realize how many people you're reaching. Just keep doing it. And you know, Michael and Shirley, we hope to be in y'all's shoes one day. Like I cannot wait for 28. We're sitting here telling it we're at 28. God, that's amazing.
You'll make it.
You'll be there.
Absolutely make it.
Erica,
Hey.
also tell them how they can reach. Tell us about your business. I mean, I'm gonna let you go ahead on and plug that thing because you're such an awesome. You got the shirts on. You're already representing. So let's talk about what is Black Wrap. What's that about?
And during COVID 2020, I decided to come up with a business because representation does matter. And I do, you know, we have a heap of nieces and nephews. It's a wrapping paper and gift wrapping business that features Black Santa, Black babies, Black graduates, things that you wouldn't typically see on the big grocery store aisles. Until this year, they're starting to bring more Black products on the shelf. So, you know, shout out to Target and Walmart for getting the message finally. But that's what Black Wrap is. We were featured on NBC5 News this past November. So yes, Black Santa, Black baby, Black excellence. That's what we're promoting.
Right.
That is wonderful. That is
How
awesome.
can they reach you? Give your website.
The website is BlackWrap, www.blackwrapped, WRAPPED, like wrappingpaper.com.
Awesome.
And Instagram handle is the same thing.
Perfect.
BlackWrap.
Awesome. And she does an amazing job. I mean, I'm like, wow, this girl is just, I mean.
Thank you.
And Jason, I know on that interview, I heard when she said that my husband was in the background. I know you was back there.
Yeah.
I caught that part. I'm telling you, I've been observing. So I caught, she said he was in the background. So, you know, thank you for just, you know, being so supportive and loving her in the way. Because my mom, I'm telling you, my mom said, Erica just, you know, I'm like, so she's in heaven knowing that Erica's got it.
And trust me, it's not hard. Like I swear to God, like everybody has that. She leaves that same impression. My grandmother, my mother, my father, my siblings, my nieces, my nephews. Everybody loves her to pieces. So I am just grateful that I got her. You know, and like I told you, I seen it way back when, and I just always hoped and I prayed that I could have it if that was the Lord's will, and we made it here. So after 40 years, I left Florida, and then I'm here. And not to speak bad on anybody who was born in Texas, but Florida's amazing. You know, I'm here now, so she's amazing.
You do realize we're supposed to be on Clearwater Beach.
You get acclimated.
Yes, real fast.
Well, Damian, any final thoughts, words, and we'll go ahead. We'll actually go ahead and we'll go out. I'll let you go ahead on and pray us out. But before you do that, let me end this and say, you know, thank you all so much for listening and being a part of Family Seasons podcast. You can always reach out at FamilySeasonsPodcast.com. We're on all social media. If you are interested in being one of our guests, we would love to have you all. Or if you have topics that you would like for us to discuss, please email me at info@CoachTeia.com. Truly, we are blessed to have you all listening. Thank you all so much. We're international. You can listen to any of our podcasts, you know, on all platforms. And we're just excited about what God is doing. Season 13, God is truly being a work of God. So thank you all so much for, you know, being a part of this. And we're excited about what God is doing. So Damian, if you would take us out in a prayer, we would be grateful.
All right, Miss Jones. Lord, we want to come to you once again at this hour, just saying thank you. You know, Miss Jones and I are just been putting our minds together to reach others and do your work. With this one Zoom call, Lord, we met with two couples, you know, that have come together through your union. And through this, Lord, we want these viewers to take heed on your works and what you can do through others. We want to use this time too, Lord, to say thank you. And may the Lord continue to bless us all in what we do and what we can do ultimately for you. In your son Jesus Christ's name, I want to say thank you. Amen.
And it must rain.